Thank you, Jeff, for that introduction. Thankfully, I wasn't looking at my wife's face to see what her expression was like. Because, you know, there was this story of a man that was introduced like this, and everything was so nice. And at the point, the wife asked him, "Sweetheart, who are they talking about?" My dear friends, family of Rotary, good evening. What a joy it is to be with you in beautiful, and let me try, Hakeem. You know, it took me a lot of time to pronounce that. And I was told that the solution to that was to go on the hot air balloon. Now, once I'm back down, I will have no problem pronouncing Hakeem. But you see, Director Win, and thank you, Win, for all the comfort and welcome you've extended to me. Win appointed Director Nominee Designate John as our aides. And John arranged for me to go on the hot air balloon this morning. But John made a mistake. He did not know that there was somebody, an African-born elsewhere, called Brad Howard, who is in town. And that he needed to have consulted him so that Brad would talk to the rainmakers and stop the rain from falling. So at the end of the day, we didn't get to go because the weather didn't allow us. But don't worry, we'll try another time. So thank you, Wayne, and thank you, John and Elizabeth, for making our stay comfortable so far. Because you know, gratitude delayed is gratitude denied. So thank you. First, let me congratulate you, our graduating district governor-elect. And the light in the room is not that clear. But if you're a GGE, I know you have something like this on you. I understand Larry is not here, so let's do something the class of governors were doing with this. Let's go. You see, today marks an important moment in your Rotary journey, our DGEs. Very soon you will take on one of the most meaningful leadership roles in Rotary. I am proud of you and I'm excited to serve alongside you in the year ahead. You see, when I look at you, I don't just see district leaders. I see partners, I see friends, and I see the people who will be on the front lines of delivering Rotary's action plan next year. Together, we will shape Rotary's future. And talking about Rotary's future, let me bring you greetings from President Francesco Alexo, who had the singular honor of having only 20 days to prepare for his presidency. And I'm sure many of you were wondering what is going to happen to this organization. And yes, I'm here in front of you. Again, due to circumstances we ordinarily would not desire. But my dear friends, let me assure you, the organization is very resilient. When we talk about ability to adapt, I think when we started talking about it years back, we did not know that we would be put to test. Francesco is doing a great job. I can tell you, my dear friends, family of Rotary, I am prepared for this role, and it's going to be very exciting next Rotary year. Everywhere I travel, I'm reminded that Rotary is more than an organization. It's family, united across cultures and backgrounds. And like you heard, speaking of family, I met my wife because of Rotary. We were Rotaractors when we first crossed paths. You see, Rotary hasn't only given me an opportunity to serve, it has shaped my entire life. These are intangible benefits of Rotary membership. You can't measure them in service hours or donations, but they are powerful, they are life-changing, and they are worth telling. And this brings me back to you, our DGAs. And I was excited listening to many of the stories you have to tell as part of your training. You see, you are about to lead thousands of Rotarians. And one of the most important things you can do as leaders is to help people understand the value of Rotary membership. Now, how do you do that? Not by quoting statistics, not by memorizing our programs, but by telling your own stories. When someone asks, what is Rotary? This thing you commit your life to, every week you are going somewhere for Rotary. What is this Rotary? We often answer something like this. You see, we give our time, our resources to improve our communities. We are the oldest, blah, 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 blah. Well, that sounds nice, but it's boring. Boring. You see, and this applies to all of us, my dear friends and family of Rotary. At that moment, when somebody is asking you that question about Rotary, you are Rotary to that person. That person has no clue who your club president is, no clue who your district governor is, and has no clue who is a director or a president. You are the Rotary that person can see. You might be the best example they will ever see, and you will be more believable if you can tell them how Rotary has changed you. My dear friends and family of Rotary, think about our vision statement. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and where? In ourselves. You see, usually when I ask this question about how has, by virtue of our membership of Rotary, been able to make lasting change across the globe, people easily talk about our polio eradication efforts. They talk about our peace centers. And if the club does international service, they remember. And then I ask, how do we make lasting change in our communities? More hands go up. People can relate with it. But you see, when I ask the question, how have you, by virtue, as a benefit of your Rotary membership, made a lasting change in yourself? Usually the room goes quiet. Quiet. And then I wait a moment, and I look through the room. And then I see some eyes rolling, somebody shaking his head. Just tell me what you are thinking. And then they start to talk. My dear friends, what this silence tells me is that we do not think enough about how Rotary is transforming us. When we talk about creating lasting impact, we normally talk about the impact we make on those who benefit from our services, benefit from the things that we do. But I've not come across any Rotarian of standing who has not said, Rotary changed me. But that is something we don't talk a lot about. You see, when you meet a young person and you talk about Rotary, they probably will tell you, see, I know what Rotary does. let me focus on my career, let me make some more money, and I'll come back and help and do good in my community. But you see, my dear friends, I don't think there is anybody you will ask, no matter the age, no matter the demography, that you will ask, would you want an opportunity to make a lasting change in yourself? I don't see anybody saying, yes, but I would like to define that for another 15 years. Not likely, no matter the age. They want to do it now. And that's why I need us to tell our own stories. Because that will be what we need to get people into Rotary. Rotary has changed me profoundly. I started as a Rotaractor when I was still a teenager. In fact, Jeff, I started as a Rotaractor in 1983-88. I think there was a typo in the official message you put out. I had the privilege of bringing, the privilege of vision that was not very strong when I was growing up, being the son of a teacher and an accountant. Rotary grounded me. It took me out of my privileged world and into my community. I never forget the Rotary literacy project my club did. You see, it was a literacy project. We were ready to just go and do it. But I wasn't expecting there would be anybody of my age that couldn't read and write. I knew there could be older people, and so Rotary can help them and change their lives. But I got there and I found people younger than me who couldn't read and write. Only Rotary brings such reality to you, and that changed me forever. And when I was still a Rotaractor, let me tell you this story. I went to my Rotary Club meeting, my sponsor Rotary Club. It was a lunch meeting. And the president looked at me and said to me, Rotaractor, what do you want this time? Because usually, Rotaractors will go to seek for support for the projects that they do. And I said, Lieutenant President, I have not come for anything. I have come to join Rotary. And you see, head turned in my direction. What the heck? What's wrong with this young man? So audacious. Do you think that is how you join Rotary? Don't you know Rotary is by invitation? But for some reason, I was bold and I asked, Lieutenant President, I never knew that as a child requires invitation to come to the home of the parents. And at that moment, the Rotarian got up and said, Yinka, I will be your sponsor. I would have walked away if that Rotarian had not stood up for me. Now, think about this, my dear friends. If that Rotarian had not spoken up, I would never have become a member. And I will not be standing before you today. Rotary has changed a lot since those days. I believe we are more welcoming now. Even though we say we want young professionals, we want young people, and I look in this audience and I can't find them. I can't find them. Perhaps this is an investment we need to make deliberately. Because we cannot be mounting that we want them, and every gathering of ours, they are not there. They simply say these guys are not serious. But let us remember the story, the purpose of this story is that every interaction matters, and you never know whose Rotary journey might begin or end based on the way you welcome them. But how do we take the idea of change and make it real in our clubs and communities? Traditionally, we recognize clubs that perform better than others, districts that perform better than others, Those that raise more money, attract more members, or run bigger projects. But I do not want us next year. I do not want clubs to compete with one another. I do not want districts to compete with one another. I want clubs and districts to compete with themselves. And what do I mean? For those of you that play golf, I'm simply asking you to play against your own handicap, not against the people you're on the course with. What am I asking you to do, my dear friends? Whether you're a club leader, a district leader, a DGE, for the DGEs in particular, look back 7 years, and I chose 7 deliberately. I understand it's a magic number for success. Find your best performance in the last 7 years. Whether it is in membership, whether it is in fundraising, whatever it is, and tell yourself, for 2026, 2027, you shall perform better than the best your district, your clubs have ever done in the last 7 years. It's your personal goal. It's not anybody else's. So go to my Rotary and check what that means. So for example, I saw today, just before I came on stage, districts with 1 new club chartered, 1 new Rotary club chartered, 15 new members next day. Great. I'm simply saying if you did 50, if your best in the last 7 years was 50, maybe that was in year 1, year 2, or year 3, year 7, it doesn't matter. Whichever year it was, I'm asking you, do 51. Do 52. Let us see that bump. So that when people look at that data years from now, they will ask, who was in charge of this district at this point? And hopefully, your names will be mentioned. And remember, numbers are not the full story. Growth is also measured by the quality of relationships that we build, by how welcome and valued people feel when they walk through your doors. This is how clubs grow stronger, not by competition, but by connection. But even the strongest clubs must remember why it exists, not just to meet, not just to make a difference in the community. You see, the community is where Rotary's heart truly beats. That is true. But I suspect one of the reasons Rotary struggles to grow in some parts of the world is that we often spend more time and resources helping communities that are far away than we do helping our own neighbors. Now, do not misunderstand me. Our international service is essential. We should be proud of it. But we must also remember that every town, every city, every neighborhood has its own challenges and opportunities. There is none that is challenge-free. Are we so disconnected from our communities that we are not doing enough there? You see, my dear friends, people in our community, in your own communities, they are not in Guatemala. They are not in Lagos. And they are not in Nairobi. We must continue to do those international things. But I'm asking you, look around and let your community feel you. There could be people just beyond these walls who need hope, who need friendship and support. And we as Rotarians are uniquely equipped to provide it. But we must be visible when we improve our communities. Let me give you an example. A cousin of mine who lives in the United Kingdom became president of our Rotary Club. I wanted to make sure she did well, so I called her up. One day, she told me that our club had donated 3,000 British pounds to a coding school for girls. That sounded wonderful. But then I learned that none of the girls knew that Rotary has provided the funding. They issued the check, but none of the girls knew. not the girls, not the families. And I said to my cousin, how do you spend that much money and have nothing to say? No stories. I encouraged her to do something to make our Rotary Club's contribution visible to those girls and to the community. I told her, identify the children who benefited from the funds. Invite them to a Rotary meeting. Let the people who sponsored, those who provided the £3,000, let them see the good their work has done. Because that is when they start to have stories to tell. That is how they see what they've impacted. Invite them to come to a Rotary meeting and let people meet them. Let their parents know too. You see, in Nigeria, we would not have given them that money just like that. We probably would have paid for a t-shirt with some Rotary logo on it that they wear when they go to class. And they will get them and their parents will ask, what the heck is that? Say, oh, we were told these people gave us this opportunity. How many of you, and I've had many of your stories since I've been here for 3 days, joined Rotary because Rotary provided you with a scholarship? How many joined because you were a Rotary Youth Estate student? Do you think you would have joined if you never knew who gave you that opportunity? Maybe not. So you see, my dear friends, support is not just about writing a check. It's also about showing love sometimes. If you are packing food, let the Rotary logo be on the package. If you are restoring a playground, wear your Rotary shirts powder. I see a lot of that. If you are helping a local school, let the students see your faces. People join organizations that make a visible difference in their lives and communities. They are moved by what they can see. When people in our towns can point to one Rotary project that changed their lives, like many of you have told your stories, that is when membership grows. That is when Rotary becomes not just a name, but a neighbor. Because when we work locally, we earn trust. And when we earn trust, we earn the right to lead lasting change, both here and around the world. But change and impact are not the same. And we can only achieve lasting change when we make a tangible impact on the world around us. I'll give you another example from Nigeria, Rotary's program of scale, Together for Healthy Families, by the Rotary Foundation. I visited a health center in one of the pilot cities. I wanted to see for myself what was happening. And then I met the medical officer who didn't know me. He saw Rotary on my jacket and he was just excited. These magicians have come to visit us. Why did he think we were magicians? He immediately invited the community leaders to say, no, Rotary is here, come and meet them. And they said, impromptu, no previous planning. And you know, the medical officer told me, Rotary started working with us 20 months ago. Up till then, women and children were dying in this hospital at childbirth. But for the last 18 months of Rotary working with us, no single woman has died. Before Rotary's intervention, many women avoided prenatal care. But after working with Rotary, systems were put in place to help them attend. The community was involved, attendance went up, mortality went down. But what I have just described is only an outcome. Think about the true impact of this. Over the next decades, children born within that program will grow up with their mothers alive at their sides. Those children will have opportunities that would have been lost if their mothers had died, if Rotary didn't show. That is impact. So I put a challenge before you. How will you change yourselves? How will you change your clubs? How will you impact your communities? We have already shown the world what we can do. We are closer than ever to eradicating polio, and that we will do. It's not if, it's just a matter of when. That is proof of what Rotary can achieve when we unite for good. Now it's time to bring that same determination to every single thing we do. We do not have to be the biggest club, or the club that gives the most. You only have to be engaged with open hands and willing hands. So after this institute ends, my dear friends and family, and you return home, be bold, be welcoming, strive to be better than you were yesterday. If you can change yourself, you can change your club. If you can change your club, you can change your community. And if you can change your community, you will change the world. And as I close, I just remind you, please tell your own stories. I know those stories are personal, and maybe the reason why people don't tell them enough, because we are vulnerable. But each time you hear those stories, you feel good, like the opportunity Rotary has given all of us. Every single person in this room has a story of impact. Impact of how Rotary changed them. So when you tell those stories of how we impacted others, think through it and flip it around. And let people know how Rotary has changed your life for good. Thank you very much, my dear friends, for allowing me to
So, President-elect Olayinka, that was wonderful, an inspiring message, but more important, a powerful call to action.